action and then we'll start.
My name is Edwin Argueta, and my project title is From Peasant to Gangster, How Diplomacy Creates a Criminal Empire. Are judges ready? Qué triste se oye la lluvia en las casas de campo. Qué triste la vida emigrante en las casas de campo. I was born in El Salvador, in El Cantón de Gotera, a village. I lived proud, almost nothing to eat, with a sense of feeling oppressed due to the large disparity of the upper class, the campesinos, the farmers like me. In El Salvador, the guerrilla bands began forming as early as the 1970s, as the peasants began feeling frustrated due to their hopeless situation. The Frente Farundo Martín para la Liberación Nacional, the rebel forces, the left wing, wanted to destroy our government for what they were doing. This led up to the Salvadorian Civil War in 1980. This war made kids like me grow up quickly because at the age of 12 we were drafted to whichever side came to recruit us. I remember how I would hide on top of the roofs of my house in hopes of not being seen. During the war, my family, they tried to protect me from the violence, but it was inevitable. Just walking to the store, I would see a dead person with their head cut off. Violence? It just seemed to be part of my everyday life. During the 80s, there was a lot of commotion surrounding Central America. There was the Salvadorian Civil War and the Nicaragua Civil War, the Contras and the Sandinistas. Then there was tensions between El Salvador and Nicaragua because Nicaragua thought the Salvadorian government was selling guns to the Contra rebel forces. Then all at the same time, the U.S. was closely monitoring what was occurring in Central America due to the fear that the Soviet Union would be gaining more communist ground. Central America was in a time of crisis and in need of a pacifist to come and restore peace and democracy. Ahí viene el presidente Oscar Arias Sánchez de Costa Rica. I'm President Oscar Arias Sánchez. I grew up in Costa Rica, a country where there's no military, hardly any violence at all. A country where peace and education is promoted rather than war and violence. This feeling, I felt, should be for each and every one of us. When I saw the conflicts occurring in Central America, I knew I had to step up and diplomatically bring peace and democracy to our countries. I began working on a plan for peace on September of 1985. It was 5 months before I was even elected president, but I knew I had to work on a solution. I composed the first draft of the peace plan on a napkin in a Washington, D.C. hotel cafeteria. Now, many debated my idea because the U.S. was trying to bring a plan for peace for Central America, but I knew they did not have the insight on how to do it, and only I could. I wanted to establish a firm and lasting peace in Central America. Now, I was able to bring 4 other Central American presidents to Guatemala to discuss a peace plan, the Escolapi's 2 peace accords, Vencio Cerezo, Napoleon Duarte, Jose Ascona, and Daniel Ortega, all intended in hopes of diplomatically bringing an end to all the suffering and injustices in our countries. Now, it was not a simple task, but I knew it had to be done in order to unite our Central American countries. Even when Daniel Ortega, president of Nicaragua, arrived with suitcases, concealing guns, I knew I had to put away any trace of fear in order to successfully lead the debate. I used tactics by the great, like President Franklin D. Roosevelt, to ensure all the diplomats were heading towards the successes I wanted. When going out to eat dinner was suggested, I vigorously refused because I knew the best way to keep negotiations going was by locking up all the diplomats until my vision was realized. It started at 3 and ended a little later than midnight. Negotiations were thoroughly examined that the president of Guatemala, Vencio Cerezo, stated each word and each paragraph was thoroughly debated until we all came into an agreement. The negotiations were a success, and on August the 7th of 1987, we signed a peace agreement. The backbone of the peace plan included a ceasefire, press freedom, amnesty for armed rebels, and restoring civil liberties to Central America. Now, on December the 10th of 1987, I was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for my success in implementing and negotiating the Escuelapi's two peace accords. Many thought I did not deserve this. Vincio Cerezo of Guatemala, the president, stated that he was the originator of the plan. President Ronald Reagan said the plan was fatally flawed and would never work. Others said I obtained the peace because of me defying what the United States wanted for Central America. But I know I did not obtain it for what I did. I obtained it for the joint collaboration of all Central Americans in hope to aspire peace and democracy in our countries. Now, over the next few years, our peace and democracy was in jeopardy due to Daniel Ortega's continued refusal of cooperating with the contra-rebel forces. I felt he wasn't putting his full efforts into ending the war. I stated, why in Costa Rica we give our children computers, the Sandinista government give their children machine guns. I kept trying to persuade Daniel Ortega that the bloodshed of his people was upon his hands. After many long-awaited years, peace finally arrived. On April the 16th of 1988, the Nicaraguan government and the contra-rebel forces signed a ceasefire agreement. On December the 31st of 1991, the Salvadorian government and the FMLN rebel forces signed a peace agreement. Now, on February the 25th of 1990, Nicaragua held its first free election in which the Sandinista government was defeated. Led by Untitled Chapter, they defeated the Sandinista government led by Daniel Ortega by 55% of the vote. Our long-awaited peace and democracy had finally arrived in Central America. El campesino entra. Man, those days during the Civil War, they were tough. I was in constant fear of getting drafted. So, I decided to flee the country and move up north. To move to Los Angeles, where all the other Salvadorians were moving. Now, during the 80s, there was a lot of gang violence going around, and it was racial gang violence. I thought I was fleeing my country, El Salvador, from violence, but I come here and violence keeps catching up with me. We, the Salvadorians, were getting pushed around and were in need of protection. So, we decided to protect ourselves and become proud of who we are. Just like at that time, the blacks were being proud for being blacks, just like the whites were being proud for being whites, then we, the Salvadorians, were sure as well going to be proud for being Salvadorians. So, I decided to become a gangster, to be part of my race and fight back. I feel almost as if to say it was in my blood to inflict suffering and violence unto others. Our gang name was Mara Salvatrucha MS-13 Homes. We felt we had an advantage over all the other gangs because all the violence they were used to was seeing someone get shot a couple of times or get stabbed. But we, at a young age, due to the civil wars in our countries, saw someone's head get chopped off with a machete or saw some of our family members get hanged from a tree for no reason. As we grew stronger, the U.S. began deporting us. But that didn't stop us from the gang banging lifestyle. We continued our gangs in Central America and became even stronger. In fact, in 2004, 60% of the total deaths in El Salvador were caused by the Maras, Holmes. You know, it's funny what Oscar said in his peace prize acceptance speech. That peace is not a matter of prizes or trophies. That peace is a never-ending process on which we must continue working on. Well, I felt he tried to bring diplomacy, bringing peace and democracy. But while I waited for that, violence was just a part of my life. It started growing on me. And it eventually led to forming the MS-13 gang, which now controls and terrorizes all of Central America. I guess you can say the sad song just seems to repeat itself. Qué triste se oye la lluvia.